Have you ever been told that the final digit of your birth year holds a secret power over your life? Perhaps you've seen videos or articles claiming that if you were born in a year ending in 0, you somehow embody emptiness and infinite potential, or that a year ending in 1 makes you a natural leader, and so on, all in the name of something called Buddhist numerology. It might sound fascinating, especially if you've never delved deeply into Buddhism or numerology before. But here is the bold reality. They lied about your birth year's last digit. Yes, that's a strong statement. However, in this deep dive, you'll see exactly why these popular claims about digit-based fates and personalities are nothing more than a fabricated myth, a blend of pop psychology, viral marketing, and vague spiritual references. They might hook you with words like energy, vibration, or ancient wisdom. But these claims crumble when held up against legitimate Buddhist teachings, historical context, and basic psychology. I encourage you to hit the like button if you appreciate myth-busting content that aims to bring clarity and truth to widely circulated misconceptions. Also, subscribe and comment below if you've ever encountered these birth year digit claims. Let me know which digit was supposedly yours and what traits they told you you'd have. Were you labeled a peacemaker, a spiritual guru, a wealthy go-getter, or an adventurous free spirit? By sharing, you can help us uncover how widespread these myths have become. Throughout this long-form exploration, we'll examine each commonly cited digit from 0 through 9, dissect the claims attached to each, and then compare those claims to real Buddhist principles. You'll also discover the psychological tricks that make these myths feel so compelling. And once we've stripped away the illusions, we'll refocus on what actual Buddhist philosophy teaches about personal growth, destiny, and how we shape our lives through intention and effort. One might wonder, why does it even matter if people believe in digit-based myths about their birth year? Isn't it just harmless fun? On the surface, it might seem like a quirky or entertaining idea, similar to how some folks casually read horoscopes for fun. But the difference here is that these birth year digit claims often invoke Buddhist numerology or ancient teachings to lend them credibility, persuading viewers to believe there's some real spiritual authority behind it. In some cases, believers might make life decisions about relationships, careers, or personal development based on these spurious claims. They might label themselves or others as non-stop adventurers or compassionate caregivers purely because of a numerical coincidence. They might even disregard actual growth opportunities or dismiss personal weaknesses that need attention because a reading said they were destined for something else. By exposing how these myths are constructed and why they have no real Buddhist foundation, we empower ourselves to seek authentic spiritual insights, ones that hold up across time, practice, and consistent ethical teachings. We also encourage a habit of critical thinking that protects us from countless other internet myths. So yes, it matters, and we'll address that in painstaking detail in the sections that follow. Let's outline the typical claims you might see online or hear in viral videos about the last digit of your birth year. The usual story goes something like this. If your birth year ends in 0, you supposedly embody the Buddhist concept of emptiness, shunyata, which gives you special power for renewal and transformation, with cyclical energies guiding your life path. If your birth year ends in 1, you're a born leader, a pioneer, always forging your own trail, someone gifted with unstoppable determination, courtesy of cosmic forces. If your birth year ends in 2, you're believed to be the ultimate peacemaker, always seeking harmony and balance, especially in the realm of yin and yang or other forms of duality. If your birth year ends in 3, creativity, self-expression, and exuberance define you. They claim it ties to some Trinity aspect in Buddhism, making you full of ideas and social energy. If your birth year ends in 4, you supposedly draw stability and practicality from the 4 elements or the 4 directions, with a strong sense of structure and dependability. If your birth year ends in 5, you're cast as a free spirit craving adventure, travel, and constant novelty. They say you're restless unless you're exploring or innovating. If your birth year ends in 6, compassion, empathy, and nurturing are your cosmic birthrights, allegedly tied to some universal caretaker energy. If your birth year ends in 7, you're the philosopher or mystic, constantly seeking spiritual or metaphysical truths, seeing beyond the surface of everyday life. If your birth year ends in 8, they promise success, wealth, ambition, sometimes referencing the Noble Eightfold Path or the cultural luck of the number 8 in some Asian contexts. If your birth year ends in 9, you're labeled altruistic, wise, near completion of cosmic cycles, brimming with universal compassion and global awareness. It all sounds so specific, so personal, and so grounded in authentic-sounding spirituality. But as we'll see, these attributions are essentially feel-good generalities, the sort of descriptors that countless people might recognize in themselves, regardless of their real birth year's final digit. The claims about last digit of your birth year in relation to Buddhism are a modern invention. While numbers do have symbolic importance in Buddhism, it's rarely about predicting personal fate or linking cosmic significance to one's birth date. Instead, legitimate Buddhist references to numbers typically revolve around the 4 Noble Truths, a central teaching on the nature of suffering and its cessation. The Noble Eightfold Path, ethical and mental training for anyone seeking enlightenment, not a preordained trait for certain births. 3 marks of existence: impermanence, suffering, and non-self, again, universal principles. 6 realms of existence, a symbolic framework describing different states of being or consciousness. 108 beads on a mala, used in meditation, but not as a personal code for character or destiny. In contrast, so-called Buddhist numerology that claims to decode your entire essence from a single digit is typically the result of New Age or pop spirituality movements blending various elements, Western numerology, Eastern religious terms, and psychological personality traits, into a system that feels exotic yet personal. It's easy to call it ancient Buddhist wisdom without citing actual canonical texts, because doing so gives it an aura of legitimacy. Many viewers find themselves captivated by the idea that a simple digit could define so much about them. Let's break down some key psychological reasons behind this fascination. The Barnum or Forer effect. This is a well-known phenomenon where people see themselves in vague, universally applicable statements like horoscopes or personality quizzes. If I say, "You're warm-hearted but sometimes feel misunderstood," it resonates with the vast majority of humans. When birth year digit descriptors are similarly broad, "You're a great caregiver, you sometimes doubt your abilities," it hits that Barnum sweet spot, making you think, "That's me." Confirmation bias. We tend to remember events or personal anecdotes that align with a claim, ignoring all the contradictions. If you end in 5 and see yourself as adventurous, you'll highlight that road trip you took, forgetting the times you stayed at home for months. Desire for identity and belonging. Many of us yearn for a sense of belonging to a special group or having a unique label that sets us apart. Being told, "You are a mystical 7" or "You are a nurturing 6" can feel comforting and exhilarating. The lure of ancient wisdom, spiritual or cultural references, especially to Eastern religions like Buddhism, can make an idea sound more grounded and time-tested. It's like a marketing tactic. This is not just a random concept, it's ancient knowledge, even if actual ancient texts say no such thing. All these factors converge in the realm of birth year digit myths, making them quite popular. And that's partly why so many people fail to notice they've been lied to about the legitimacy of these claims. Let's dig into each commonly assigned meaning for digits 0 through 9. This breakdown might feel lengthy, but given how widely these beliefs have circulated, it's important to understand why each one lacks genuine Buddhist basis. Digit 0, emptiness and infinite potential. Myth. People say 0 resonates with the concept of emptiness, shunyata, implying a life of constant renewal, significant cyclical phases, and a unique openness to transformation. Reality. While emptiness is crucial in Buddhism, it's not a personal badge bestowed exclusively on those born in, say, 1980, 1990, 2000, or 2010. Emptiness describes the nature of reality, that nothing has an independent, permanent essence. Everyone and everything is subject to this truth, not just 0 births. If a myth claims otherwise, they're misrepresenting a fundamental teaching for a neat personality story. Digit 1. Individuality and leadership. Myth. This idea states you're a born leader, an innovator, forging new paths with confidence and unstoppable ambition if your year ends in 1. Reality. Buddhism emphasizes interdependence, that no one exists in isolation. This notion of singled-out leadership due to one's digit runs counter to core teachings on how we're shaped by conditions, efforts, and moral practice. While you might become a leader through skill and perseverance, it's not guaranteed by a final digit in your birth year. Digit 2, harmonizer and mediator. Myth. Because 2 is often associated with duality, yin and yang, it's said that if you're born in a 2-year, you're a natural peacemaker. Reality. Yin-yang is a Taoist concept, occasionally referenced in East Asian spiritual contexts, but not the foundation of Buddhist personality teachings. Moreover, many people, regardless of their birth year, strive for harmony. This is a classic example of the Barnum effect. There's nothing in the Dhammapada, the Pali Canon, or Mahayana Sutras that says 2 equals cosmic harmony gift. Digit 3, vibrant, creative, and expressive. Myth. You're a social butterfly, an artist, or a creative mind with endless imagination, supposedly tied to some Trinity aspect in Buddhism. Reality. There's talk of body, speech, and mind in Buddhist teachings, but that's a universal framework for understanding how we manifest our intentions. It does not say, if you were born in 1983 or 1993, you're especially creative. Creativity arises from personal interests, education, environment, not a digit. Digit 4, structure, stability, and the 4 elements. Myth. Because Buddhism and other traditions discuss the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, air, someone born in a year ending in 4 is grounded, practical, and methodical. Reality. The mention of 4 elements in early Buddhist texts helps explain the composition of physical phenomena. Nowhere does it say people with a 4 birth year inherently adopt those elements' qualities. Rigidity or discipline stems from learned behavior, not from a date's final digit. Digit 5, freedom and adventure. Myth. A year ending 5 is linked to wanderlust, passion for novelty, and an inability to tolerate the mundane. They claim you're always seeking new horizons. Reality. Buddhism talks about liberation, moksha or nirvana, but that's liberation from suffering, not an unquenchable thirst for novel experiences. People from every digit category can be adventurous or reserved. Tying restlessness solely to 5 is a superficial personality assignment with no textual backing. Digit 6, compassionate caregiver. Myth. This one highlights a strong maternal or paternal instinct, empathy, and a predisposition to serve or help, allegedly rooted in Buddhist teachings about compassion. Reality, compassion, karuna is indeed central to Buddhism, but it's taught as universal, something everyone should cultivate. There's no hint anywhere that 6 births have a monopoly on empathy. This claim is simply an appealing trait pinned on a digit to gain adherence. Digit 7, mystical and spiritual depth. Myth 7. Births are told they have an innate drive for philosophical or spiritual exploration, seeing beyond everyday illusions. Reality. The idea of 7 being mystical is widespread in many cultures, but it's not a uniquely Buddhist stance. True spiritual depth arises from meditation, ethical conduct, reflection, and study, open to all. No canonical Buddhist text endorses digit-based spiritual advantage. Digit 8, power, prosperity, and the Eightfold Path. Myth, tying the Noble Eightfold Path or cultural beliefs about the luck of 8 to year-end births is common. Allegedly, 8 births are destined for success, influence, or wealth. Reality, the Noble Eightfold Path is an ethical and mental training regimen for anyone pursuing enlightenment. Also, in some East Asian cultures, 8 is considered lucky, but that's a cultural notion, not a cosmic law guaranteeing success. Personal effort and social factors, not a digit, primarily shape one's achievements. Digit 9, completion and global compassion. Myth, people with a 9-year supposedly have reached a near end of karmic cycles, brimming with universal love, spiritual wisdom, and readiness for new phases. Reality. While Buddhism references the cycle of rebirth, samsara, it's not about labeling 9 births as nearly complete in their journey. Completion or enlightenment is attained through persistent practice, insight, and moral living. No tradition says 9 is your golden pass to cosmic closure. Each of these digit-based claims is appealing in some way. Creative if you're a 3, stable if you're a 4, wise if you're a 7. Notice how none of these claims ever mention negative traits. This positivity is part of what makes them go viral. People like to hear uplifting things that seem personally tailor-made. But it's just a bait-and-switch tactic using Buddhism as a veneer of authenticity. You might ask, if these claims have no legitimate textual basis, where do they come from, and why do so many people believe them? The short answer is, these myths are effective at grabbing attention and appealing to basic psychological needs. Exoticism and authority. Slapping the label Buddhist numerology on an idea makes it sound exotic and historically grounded, even if the actual Buddhist tradition doesn't back it. Simplicity sells. A simple chart telling you digit X equals your Y is extremely shareable. People love easy solutions or short identity quizzes. Viral spread. Social media algorithms reward content that evokes curiosity and a sense of self-discovery. Emotional boost. Each digit's description is usually positive. Who doesn't like to hear that they're a natural leader, caring nurturer, or unstoppable creator? When you see a polished video or article, it often references centuries of Buddhist philosophy without naming a single actual sutra, commentary, or recognized teacher. That's a giant red flag. It might also use disclaimers like, "Some secrets have been lost until now," or "Few know about this ancient knowledge," reinforcing a sense of mystery or exclusivity. In reality, this approach is more about marketing than spirituality. While it might seem benign to identify with a certain number, there can be consequences. Limiting self-view. If you say, "I'm a 1, so I must always be in charge," you might miss out on opportunities to grow in collaboration or let others lead. Overlooking growth areas. Believing you're already compassionate or adventurous based on a digit might dissuade you from recognizing shortcomings or exploring new skills. Misplaced blame. Some folks might rationalize negative behaviors. "I'm restless because I'm a 5," instead of taking responsibility for personal change. Spiritual confusion. Tying your identity to false religious claims can undermine genuine paths of self-improvement and ethical practice. Instead of focusing on mindfulness or compassion as universal qualities, you treat them as digit-based entitlements. This is why we emphasize so strongly that they lied about the deeper meaning behind your birth year's last digit. It's not just a harmless curiosity. It can distort your approach to self-development. To emphasize the disconnect between these digit-based myths and real Buddhist teachings, consider some fundamental Buddhist ideas: non-self, anatta. The Buddha taught that there's no unchanging, permanent essence in any individual. If that's the case, how could the final digit of your birth year define your stable, unalterable personality traits? Real Buddhism suggests you're in constant flux, shaped by volitional actions and conditions, not a number. Impermanence, anicca. Everything is in motion. Believing a single digit at birth locks you into a destiny or trait defies the principle of impermanence. You can evolve in countless directions over your lifetime. Karma. In Buddhism, karma is not about a random cosmic code at birth, it's about intentional actions. The ethical quality of your actions, repeated over time, shapes your experiences. No digit will override that reality. 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. These are broad frameworks for understanding suffering, its cessation, and how to cultivate ethical, mental, and emotional well-being. They apply universally, not just to those with certain digits. Compassion for all, teachings on loving kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna, do not single out certain individuals as more predisposed based on birth year. Everyone is encouraged to develop these qualities. Clearly, the real heart of Buddhism revolves around universal truths, shared ethical guidelines, and the potential for every person to awaken. There's no mention of a cosmic birth digit script in any recognized canon. Like and subscribe. If you appreciate exploring truth behind popular misconceptions, do hit that like button and subscribe for more myth-busting and genuine spiritual insights. Comment your experience. Have you or someone you know ever believed in these digit-based claims? Which digit spoke to you? Comment below and share your story. Share this video. Spread awareness by sending this video to anyone who might be caught in or curious about these myths. Let's help each other spot misinformation. Stay critical. Going forward, always question spiritual claims that promise easy identities or ancient secrets without credible sources. Let me know in the comments if you want more tips on how to evaluate such content. As we move through this massive exploration, remember that open-minded curiosity is great, but letting ourselves be duped by well-packaged misinformation can derail or delay genuine growth. In case you're still curious about why these myths gain traction, let's delve more deeply into the mental processes at play, beyond the brief mention of Barnum and confirmation bias. Social proof. If a video or article claims it has millions of views and thousands of testimonials, you may assume it must be right. In reality, popularity doesn't always correlate with truth. People often share content that feels personally affirming, even if it's factually baseless. Cognitive ease. Our brains prefer simple explanations. I'm a 3, so I'm creative is far easier to digest than a nuanced exploration of how creativity forms over years of practice, environment, and neural development. Narrative cohesion. Humans love stories. Linking a single digit to a grand story. Because you're a 6, you have a deep soul mission to care for others, feels more satisfying than your caregiving tendencies emerged from your upbringing, personal choices, and broader moral convictions. A neat story is often more memorable than messy truths. Some defenders of the digit-based system might argue, but it's ancient. They might say it's from an old Buddhist monastery or lost texts. But actual Buddhist scholars find no references in widely accepted canons. Almost always, these claims come with 0 credible citations. It resonates, so it must be real. Personal resonance doesn't equal factual accuracy. Many descriptions resonate simply because they're broad and positive. Maybe it's an esoteric tradition. While different Buddhist cultures have integrated local folk beliefs, none of these folk systems revolve exclusively around the last digit of birth years. Even if some numerological tradition existed locally, it wouldn't overshadow the mainstream canons recognized globally by Buddhists. I tried it and it worked for me. This is likely anecdotal evidence. If someone strongly identifies with being a 5, they might unconsciously reinforce that narrative in daily life, ignoring conflicting behaviors. If your birth year's last digit doesn't define you, what does? According to Buddhism and many other wisdom traditions, you're shaped by your intentions. The ethical or unethical quality behind your actions significantly influences who you become. Habitual choices, repeated behaviors, form dispositions and character over time, a process recognized both spiritually and psychologically. Mindfulness and reflection, becoming aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, helps you consciously steer your personal growth. Moral and spiritual practice, compassion, generosity, patience, and other virtues are cultivated through consistent effort, not cosmic birth codes. This perspective empowers you to evolve. You're not locked into some destiny or personality trait determined by a single digit. Instead, you're an active participant in your life's unfolding. To really drive home how these digit meaning descriptions exploit the Barnum effect, consider a hypothetical example. Suppose we create a statement for birth year ending in 7. You often feel a deep urge to discover hidden truths, yet you sometimes fear that others don't truly understand how profound your thoughts can be. You excel at offering advice, but sometimes you keep your own struggles private, waiting for the right moment or the right person to confide in. That statement is likely to resonate with a large majority of people, not just those with a 7. This is because it highlights human experiences, feeling misunderstood, giving advice more freely than seeking it, harboring deeper interests. It feels intimate, so someone with a 7 might exclaim, "That's me." Meanwhile, the same statement could apply to many 3 or 8 or 1 individuals if they choose to see themselves in it. The birth year digit story is just one of many spiritual-sounding claims that bubble up online. You might encounter others like your name's letters reveal your karmic debt, or your house number shapes your family's harmony. While numerology can be interesting as a cultural or mystical curiosity, it's crucial to approach these systems with critical thinking. Demands for evidence. If something is said to be from an ancient text, ask for references, translations, or credible scholar support. Observing vagueness. If the descriptions are all positive or universally applicable, it's likely exploiting the Barnum effect. Seeking diverse perspectives. Check what recognized spiritual teachers or well-known Buddhist monastics say about such claims. Assessing the marketing angle. Sometimes these myths are peddled by authors or influencers who profit from selling readings, ebooks, or courses. By developing this evaluative mindset, you'll safeguard yourself against future "they lied to you" revelations. Let's shift focus to the depth of genuine Buddhist philosophy, why so many are drawn to it, and how it truly helps personal growth. Suffering, dukkha. Rather than providing quick identity labels, Buddhism starts by acknowledging that life involves suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Identifying and understanding its causes, ignorance, craving, aversion, is the gateway to transformation. Ethical living. The precepts, no killing, no stealing, no lying, no sexual misconduct, no intoxicants in many traditions, are about actions that shape a more harmonious society and clearer conscience. Mindfulness and concentration. Systems like Vipassana, insight meditation, or Zen offer methods to calm the mind and see reality more clearly. Compassion and loving kindness. Developing metta, loving kindness, is for everyone, not restricted to a special year digit. It involves viewing others with goodwill, wishing them well, and practicing generosity, impermanence, and non-self. By meditating on how everything changes and how there's no unchanging I, practitioners reduce clinging, thereby reducing suffering. None of these crucial teachings revolve around the final digit of your birth year. Instead, genuine Buddhism guides a path open to anyone, any year, any background, who sincerely applies the teachings in daily life. If you're seeking authentic spiritual enrichment instead of digit-based illusions, here are steps you might consider. Study foundational texts, the Dhammapada, the Majjhima Nikaya, or certain Mahayana sutras, like the Heart Sutra, can offer direct insights into Buddhist thought. Attend reputable centers, look for recognized temples, monasteries, or certified meditation teachers with a known lineage. They typically won't mention year-digit destiny. Practice meditation, start small. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day focusing on your breath can build mindfulness and clarity. Engage in ethical activities. Generosity, volunteering, practicing kind speech. These build positive karma and reflect the universal virtue approach, not a digit-based approach. Self-reflection. Journal about your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Notice patterns that might need adjusting. This is how real transformation happens, through continuous awareness and directed effort. Give this video a thumbs up if you value myth-busting content that clarifies spiritual misinformation. Subscribe for more. Let's explore more about genuine Buddhist teachings, mindful living, and illusions in spirituality. Comment your thoughts. Have you previously followed these digit claims, or do you have a friend who swears by them? Let's discuss your experiences below. Share with others. If you suspect someone might be making life choices based on these myths, share this resource so they can get a more grounded perspective. These actions help foster a community of informed and discerning viewers. Let's pause and address something that might be on your mind right now. What if you actually enjoyed believing in your digit-based description? Maybe it made you feel special, or you saw it as a comforting identity. Does debunking this myth mean everything you found meaningful is now worthless? The answer is more nuanced. Any positive insight you gained, like discovering you're creative, compassionate, or adventurous, doesn't have to vanish. Those traits can be cultivated and refined regardless of birth year digits. If you thought you were a 6 because you're caring, that's great. Keep nurturing empathy for all beings. Just recognize it's a choice you make, not a fixed destiny assigned by a numeric code. One of the biggest reasons these myths spread is the allure of hidden wisdom, the idea that you've tapped into something exclusive or arcane. But genuine spiritual teachings, especially within Buddhism, are openly shared in temples, monasteries, and reputable sources worldwide. If someone insists you need a digit-based system or a hush-hush formula to unlock real teachings, that's almost always a sign of marketing gimmicks rather than recognized tradition. Wondering if there's any real precedent for birth year digit beliefs in Buddhist history? Let's take a snapshot. Early Buddhism in India focused on the Four Noble Truths. Numerology never dominated core doctrine. Theravada in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Folk astrology popped up, but official teachings stayed anchored in the Pali Canon. No digit-based destinies mentioned. Mahayana and Zen in East Asia. Some local numerological customs exist. Feng Shui, Taoist influences, but not specifically about your birth year's last digit. Tibetan Vajrayana. Complex cosmologies appear, yet there's no recognized practice that labels people by the final digit of their birth year. Modern Western interest. New Age authors often splice Western numerology with Eastern wisdom, leading to cross-cultural myths, not ancient secrets. In short, no Buddhist lineage endorses final digit personality codes. Digital misinformation often uses the same tactics, cherry-picking terms, out-of-context references to emptiness, compassion, or the four elements. Unverifiable claims, whisperings of lost manuscripts or monks in hidden valleys, nobody can trace. testimonial over reliance, basing truth solely on personal anecdotes. I read I'm a 1, and now I'm a CEO. Ignoring contradictions, overlooking those 1 folks who never led anything or 5 folks who don't travel. It's totally normal to experience curiosity, relief, or even disappointment upon learning these digit myths aren't real. Ask yourself, what drew me to these claims? Was it the positivity, the feeling of belonging, or spiritual intrigue? Am I open to a self-driven path of growth that doesn't rely on a birth date destiny? How can I replace these myth-based beliefs with genuine practices like meditation, mindfulness, or ethical living? There's no shame in having believed something and then learning otherwise. Growth is about evolving our perspectives. When you shift focus to actual Buddhist teachings or any robust spiritual system, you move from passively accepting digit labels to actively cultivating the qualities you admire. So, if you crave compassion, try loving kindness meditations or volunteer work. If you want structure, practice mindful routines and consistent self-discipline. If leadership calls you, study what true leadership entails: empathy, clear communication, and moral courage. All of these steps are within your control, no matter what year you were born or how that year ends. If this deep dive helped clarify misconceptions, consider subscribing for more content that cuts through spiritual confusion. Sharing with friends who might still be hooked on the birth year digit hype. Sometimes a calm, factual explanation is all they need. Commenting with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future myth-busting topics. Discussion fosters community insight. We can all learn from each other. What if you still resonate with your digit's description? Remember, that feeling can arise from coincidence or universal truths that apply to many. It doesn't confirm a cosmic code. Instead, channel that resonance into deliberate action. You're free to be as empathetic or adventurous as you wish. No number required to justify it. Here's the bottom line. Birth year digits don't define you. They never did. Any spiritual path worth its name, Buddhism included, emphasizes ethical living, mindfulness, and authentic self-discovery, not superstitious labels. In the end, our destinies hinge on how we choose to live, not on a single digit in our date of birth. But what if there's more to uncover about birth dates overall? Could this numbers obsession be misleading us in even bigger ways, beyond just that final digit? If you feel that tug of curiosity or a nagging sense of doubt, but maybe my entire birth date holds secret power, get ready for our next eye-opening installment. They lied about your birth date. Here's why. You'll be amazed at how deep this rabbit hole goes. Meanwhile, remember, your potential isn't locked behind numbers. It blossoms through knowledge, conscious choices, and genuine practice. Before you go, do me a quick favor. Like this video if you gained new insight. Comment below with your thoughts, questions, or personal experiences. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next 9 videos launching today, each one busting myths and revealing deeper truths. Share this with anyone who might still be on the fence about digit-driven beliefs.